A New Zealand woman was recorded attempting to steal courier packages from her Auckland neighbors in October of 2021. When the couple confronted the woman, whom they derisively dubbed Karen, she claimed that she'd merely intended to hand the items directly to the owners. The victims rejected this version of events, agitating the unnamed woman, who continued to deny accusations of theft. When the neighbors asked why a few of the items were hidden in her purse, she lost her composure and began throwing the packages at them. The neighbors continually told the thief to put the stolen items back on the ground where she found them. She refused to apologize or acknowledge her misdeeds, instead continuing her belligerent behavior. The woman insulted the victims and made obscene gestures at the camera. The video was uploaded to TikTok, whereupon users flooded the post with comments encouraging the couple to press charges. Number 8. Jeremy Lee Pauley. Pennsylvania man Jeremy Lee Pauley was arrested on July the 22nd of 2022 for attempting to sell human remains on Facebook. Police had begun investigating the 40-year-old man after receiving a tip about the trafficking of donated body parts. When officers initially searched Pauley's Enola residence, they discovered a number of skeletons, which the man adequately proved had been acquired legally. During a second inspection, however, investigators confiscated several buckets filled with human organs, including brains, a heart, livers, lungs, and a trachea. Most disturbingly, the police reportedly recovered a child's mandible with teeth still attached. The authorities determined that Pauley had purchased the remains from a woman who'd stolen them from the University of Arkansas. The body part collector posted regularly on a Facebook page that catered to vendors of the odd and unusual. According to its description, Pauley was released on a $50,000 bond, pending the continuation of his case's legal proceedings. Number 7. Kostov. On August the 4th of 2016, 42-year-old Kostov was captured by CCTV transporting the body of his ex-girlfriend, Gergana Prodanova, after murdering her in their shared Exeter, England home. Her naked body would be discovered 12 days later, discarded on an embankment. The 38-year-old victim had reportedly begun dating a new man, Tihomir Todorov, and asked Kostov to move out of her apartment. The man ultimately resorted to killing Prodanova, his girlfriend of 15 years, rather than allow her to begin a new relationship. The police became involved after Prodanova's colleagues reported her missing. During questioning, Kostov claimed that she'd traveled to Bulgaria following the death of her mother. He began sending texts to Todorov and several family members, posing as his former partner in an attempt to make it appear as though she was still alive. Investigators conducted a forensic phone analysis and reviewed CCTV footage, which led to the collection of enough evidence to arrest Kostov in connection to Prodanova's death. During the ensuing criminal trial, it was revealed that the man had Googled how long it would take for a human corpse to decompose. Nevertheless, Kostov denied any involvement. The jury deliberated for an hour before finding him guilty. Presiding Judge John Royce sentenced Kostov to 19 years in prison. Number 6. Venezuelan Thief. Footage of an unidentified woman attempting to steal 8 pairs of jeans from a Venezuelan store went viral in November of 2019. The would-be thief had begun wearing each pair one on top of the other in an attempt to make off with the merchandise undetected. However, her clumsy getaway garb was instantly noticed by the store security staff. The video showed the woman pulling the jeans down off her legs while a security guard counted each item. At the end of the viral clip, the 8 pairs could be seen pulled around the suspect's ankles. No further information has been revealed in connection to the incident, as per the latest available updates. Number 5. Charles Nippard. In July of 2022, 86-year-old Charles Nippard and his 52-year-old daughter, Derianne Beck, witnessed a woman stealing from their garden in Dorset, England. For years, Nippard had grown a variety of fruits and vegetables, including potatoes, tomatoes, cucumbers, strawberries and onions. However, during the 2022 growing season, he became suspicious after noticing his crops were smaller than usual. One of his neighbors reported seeing a middle-aged woman ripping Nippard's tomato plants from the vine with both hands and decided to take pictures to catch the culprit in the act. Beck, who assisted her disabled father with his gardening endeavors, subsequently posted the pictures online, soliciting the aid of her social media followers. In an attempt to identify the suspect, Nippard and his daughter believed that the same woman had also stolen over 40 red onions that left drying on a rack in the garden. Beck received several private messages identifying the thief, whose name she didn't reveal publicly. She stated that she hoped the picture alone would be enough to shame the middle-aged woman into stopping her larcenous behavior. Number 4. Daphne and Whited. In December of 2013, Daphne and Whited, a resident of Cantonment, Florida, was caught stealing Christmas decorations from her neighbors. The 45-year-old was reportedly driving around the neighborhood, removing yard decorations and placing them inside the trunk of her car. One of the neighbors, identified as Sean Young, posted pictures of Whited on his Facebook page after confronting the thief. Young sarcastically asked Whited if she needed help carrying the items, at which point she drove away. Local police were contacted and managed to identify the thief with the help of Young's pictures. Whited was arrested and during subsequent questioning insisted that she hadn't stolen any decorations. She explained that she found an ad on Craigslist stating that the decorations placed on the lawns she visited were free for anyone to take. Predictably, Whited's claims were flatly rejected by investigators, and she was ultimately convicted of multiple counts of petty larceny, leading to a 2-month jail sentence. She was also ordered to pay restitution to the victims. Roughly a year later, Whited was convicted for a second time in connection to an unrelated case of robbery. Number 3. Jeffrey Dahmer. Infamous Wisconsin serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer came perilously close to being caught red-handed by the police on several occasions before he was finally apprehended at his Milwaukee apartment on July the 22nd of 1991. Dahmer murdered 17 men between 1978 and 1991. 12 at his North 25th Street home, 3 at his grandmother's residence, 1 at the Ambassador Hotel, and another while he was living with his parents in Ohio. The notorious killer fatally strangled most of his victims and injected several of their frontal lobes with either hydrochloric acid or boiling water. On the night of his eventual arrest, Dahmer had offered 3 men $100 to pose for naked pictures. 32-year-old Tracy Edwards agreed to the proposition but became suspicious of Dahmer after detecting a strange smell. Edwards would later recount how The Exorcist 3 was playing on a television in the background and that he saw a 57-gallon drum from which the foul odor seemed to emanate. Dahmer began acting erratically, brandishing a knife and placing his head on his intended victim's chest, listening to his heartbeat and detailing his plans to eat his heart. Edwards managed to escape after punching Dahmer in the face during a moment of distraction. The victim ran down the street, eventually stumbling upon 2 police officers, Robert Rolfe and Rolf Mueller. Dahmer allowed the officers to enter his apartment but became hostile and violent when they began searching his bedroom, where they discovered Polaroid pictures of dismembered corpses. After restraining the suspect, Mueller opened the fridge to find a severed human head. Forensic investigators recovered 7 skulls, a bag filled with human organs, and a dismembered torso from Dahmer's residence, as well as 2 skeletons, severed hands and genitals, and several body parts dissolving in acid. On February the 17th of 1992, Dahmer was sentenced to life in prison plus 80 years. On November the 28th of 1994, he was murdered by fellow inmates Jesse Anderson and Christopher Scarver. Number 2. Kevin Smith. Footage recorded by Florida police body cameras showed 37-year-old Kevin Smith being detained after stealing a Chevrolet Silverado that contained 2 children. On October the 10th of 2022, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office posted the video online showing the alarming incident in full. Smith was tracked down after the truck's owner reported the vehicle as stolen and made a desperate plea to the police to recover it, telling officers his young sons were in the back seat. When a traffic stop was subsequently conducted, Smith initially refused to hand over the keys to the pickup, but eventually complied. The video showed the children telling the officers that Smith wasn't their father. Fortunately, the kids were safely returned to their parents and Smith was arrested without further incident. He was held in custody without bond on charges of grand theft, auto, and felony kidnapping. Number 1. Jesse Shane Kemson. On December the 2nd of 2018, CCTV captured New Zealand man Jesse Shane Kemson pulling a suitcase containing Grace Emmy Rose Mullane's remains out of an Auckland hotel and into a rented car. Kemson, aged 26 at the time, had reportedly murdered 22-year-old Mullane during what he claimed was a consensual, intimate encounter. The pair had met through Tinder and had agreed to go out on the night in question. The young woman was reported missing after failing to reply to text messages sent by her parents. Kemson was arrested 6 days after the murder, and initially, the court forbade the media from publishing his name, an order with which many international outlets didn't comply. Mullane's body was found inside the discarded suitcase on December the 9th. Her corpse reportedly displayed signs of strangulation. Kemson was charged with her murder 2 days later. The suspect had a criminal record related to previous instances of violence against women, as well as stalking. Kemson pleaded not guilty but was ultimately convicted after the jury deliberated for only 5 hours. He was consequently sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 10 years. Multiple appeals have been made in an attempt to overturn the conviction, but each motion was ultimately dismissed by the Supreme Court. Thanks for watching. Would you rather get caught in the act or get caught stealing money from your grandma? Let us know in the comments section below.